Hello children, welcome back to the class. We are dealing with the chapter Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. One of the beautiful and then very fascinating chapter, I can say. Very interesting topic too. And here in the last sessions we just learned about how actually the flower structure is, and we learned about deep about the stamen, the parts of the stamen. There are two parts of the stamen. One is filament, stalk, and then one more is anther. Okay, in angiosperms, anther is called what? Bilobed. Why? Because it is having two lobes. Dithecous. Why? Because in each lobe there will be two thecas. And then it is called tetragonal. Why? Because it is having four sided heads. Tetrasporangiate. Why? Because it is having 1, 2, 3, 4 sporangias, that is microsporangias. Now here today's session we are going to learn about structure of microsporangium. Okay, structure of microsporangium. Not only the structure we are going to learn here, we are going to take a TS means transfer section. When this anther is transferly cutted and that transferly cutted slice is there, no, if we keep under microscope it will just look like this, children. Okay, now let me tell you about some very important thing about this all. Each and every portion, each and every part I am going to explain in detail. So please be with your NCERT book and then underline the whatever the important things are there, and then make sure what are the important extra points I am going to tell you today, that also you should be noted down. First let me explain the structure, then next I am going to give you points. Don't worry about that. Okay, now here in TS in the sense transfer section. In the transfer section of microsporangium appears nearly circular in shape. This is NCERT word only. Nearly circular in shape. This is microsporangium. 1 is microsporangium. 4 means microsporangia, plural. Okay, now this will be nearly circular in shape. It consists of homogeneous mass of meristematic cells. It consists of what? Homogeneous mass of meristematic cells called primary sporogenous tissue. Called what? Primary sporogenous tissue. What it is called? Sporogenous tissue also I can say. These all will be having homogeneous meristematic cell. I think you people are remembering what about the homogeneous meristematic cells. Homogeneous means all cells will be in a same size, and the meristematic cells means they will be having capacity to divide very rapidly, and this of the tissue is called what? The primary sporogenous tissue. And then these 4 microsporangias were covered with a layer which is called anther wall. This overall wall is called what, children? Anther wall. There will be no only one layer or two layer or like that. There will be conversion, there will be protection of 4 layers altogether is called anther layer. Okay, the 4 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, altogether these 4 layers altogether is called what? Anther walls. Means for today's session we are going to split this in 2 main subheadings. One is anther wall layer, next is sporogenous tissue. Means first I am going to explain you detail this portion, anther wall layer. Okay, overall this I can call it as what? Anther wall. Okay, first we are going to discuss about anther wall, then next we are going to discuss about sporogenous tissue. Okay, this sporogenous tissue only later on will be giving you what? Pollen grains. Don't worry about that, I am going to discuss you in detail. First, from outer side to inner side, we are going to explain. I am going to explain you. In your exam point of view, children, many of the times they were asked this structure also in simple structure for your examination point of view. Okay, that's what this structure is also important. Okay, this is the tears of young anther. What it is actually? This is tears of young anther. Okay, now the next one, this is A. Next one, I am going to draw about enlarged view of microsporangium. This is microsporangium, isn't it? When I am going to enlarge this overall portion, how it will look, that will be the next. That is the enlarged portion, enlarged part of what? Microsporangium. There I am going to discuss about the anther wall. So for this purpose, I am going to use many colored pens here for the clearing appearance and then for your clear understanding. Okay, children? Yes. Let me have a 1 second, please. Okay, let us move. First one, see, anther wall layer consists of 4 layers actually. Now let me write here the heading, that is anther wall layers. Okay, in your NCERT this much deep discussion is not there, only within a few lines he just winded up, but for your convenience, for your better knowledge and for your neat point of view, I am going to teach you in deeper manner. That's what, please be concentrate. Okay, children, now let us see what actually anther wall layers are. There are 4 wall layers, children. First one is epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, tapetum. Okay, how many wall layers are there? 4 wall layers. First one is epidermis, second one endothecium, third one middle layer, and then fourth one is tapetum. Okay, these are the very 4 important wall layers of what? Anther. All together these layers is called what? Anther wall layers. How many are there? 4. Epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, tapetum. From outside to inside we are going. Okay, in this manner we are going. Okay, when I draw this structure, when it is going to appear, first layer will be epidermis. Okay, the first layer will be epidermis. Epidermis is the single layer and then it is outermost single layer. Okay, epidermis is the outermost single layer, children. This is what actually epidermis looks like. This one is what? Let me write here epidermis. Okay, epidermis is outermost layer and it is single layered. And what is the function? Epidermis protection in function. It protects all inner wall layers. Okay, now then next comes our endothecium. Endothecium is just present below the epidermis. It is single celled thick layer. Okay, endothecium is just present just below what? The epidermis. The endothecium will be. This is the endothecium wall layer. It is just present below whom? Below the epidermis. Okay, now here what happens? the outer layer, if I draw this outer layer of endothelium will be very lighter. When I draw the inner and then radial, okay, inner and then radial, this is radial, this is inner. Why I am going to dark here is because the wall of the endothelium, inner wall layer and then the radial wall layer will be thick, whereas outer layer will be very thin. Okay na? I hope everybody is getting my words. Why it is thick, children? Why this radial wall and then this inner wall is thick means this thickening is due to alpha cellulose fibers. There will be fibers. Due to that fibers, what happens? These radial layers and then the inner wall layer will be very thick. Okay. Now I can call this as what? This layer is endothelium. Okay, endothelium, inner wall layer and then radial. This is radial and this is inner wall layer. They are quite thinner, they are quite thicker. Only outer layer is thin one. Why this inner layer and then radial layer is thick? Why? Because it is made up of alpha cellulose fibers. Please remember, okay. And here callose bands also present along the radial wall at some places, means here there will be callose bond. These callose bonds, these are actually absent in stomium position. Okay, this is the stomium. In the yesterday class only I said, if I draw this very clearly, how actually it will be. See, this is endothelium, I can say. Here in this stomium portion, this endothelium will be thin, children. Why? Because when this anther gets mature, due to the acceptance of water, this wall layer, the endothelium will shrink up. Due to that shrinkage, due to pressure, what happens? This will be splits. At which position? At the stomium. At what? Stomium. This is the best function of stomium actually. Where the endothelium layer will be thin, at the region of stomium. This question is asked once in MCQ. Where the endothelium layer is very thin, the endothelium layer, that is callose bonds, are very thin. In what? In the stomium. These bonds will be very thin there. Okay na? At which region? At the stomium. Why they are thin there? Why they are thin? Because to dehiscence, to help in the dehiscence of the anther, they takes place only from these places. Okay. Endothelium becomes hydroscopic in nature. The endothelium will be hydroscopic. Hydroscopic in the sense what, children? They tending to absorb moisture from the air. See, once this anther is going to be matured, okay, when this anther is going to be matured, after maturation, whatever the air will be having water vapors, water moisture will be there, no, that will be absorbed by this endothelium. When that is absorbed, then what happens? This anther water pressure will be more. Due to that water pressure, what happens? This anther will get splits. That will be helpful for the dehiscence. Okay, when that is dehiscence, the produced pollen grain will be released very soon. Okay na? That thing you people will be learn in later on session. Don't worry about that. Just we learnt about the outermost layer, which is called epidermis, and the next to epidermis there is endothelium. Endothelium inner wall and then radial wall is made up of alpha cellulose fiber. It is made up of what? Alpha cellulose fiber and then callose bonds. Okay, due to the presence of callose bonds only, the endothelium will act like a hydroscopic in nature. Next, after this, there is presence of 2 to three layer of cells which is called middle layer. Middle layer consists of parenchymatous cells. The middle layers are what, children? Parenchymatous. These middle layers, this is what actually the middle layer. Okay na? There is no the middle layer will be 1 to 2 layers. Okay, I am drawing here 2 layers of middle layer. Let me draw one more line also. This is what actually the middle layer. This is middle layer. How many layers it will be? 1 to 3 layers. Middle layer will be 1 to 3 layers, and this layer is somewhat thick comparatively, because epidermis is also one layer, endothecium is also one layer, but the middle layer is 1 to 3. And what is the purpose of middle layer? It stores what? Food. As it is parenchymatous, just now I said the cells of here are parenchymatous cells. Okay, the cells are parenchymatous cells. So this middle layer is helpful for the storage of the food. Now, after this middle layer is made up of parenchymatous cell, and then function of middle layer is storage of food. And here the middle layer is ephemeral. Ephemeral means short lived. Okay, whatever the words I am going to give you, whatever the points I am going to tell you, please note it down. Okay na? Later on I am giving, don't worry about that, but then too along with the explanation, if you write, that will be very better. The middle layer is ephemeral, children. Ephemeral means it will be short lived. Okay, it degenerates after maturity. When the anther is going to be matured, the middle layer goes what? Degenerate. There will be question, which layer, which anther wall layer will be degenerated after maturity? This middle layer will be degenerated, other 3 layers will be there only. Okay, only this middle layer will be degenerated. Now the interesting and then very much more questions will arise from the fourth layer, that is about the tapetum. The innermost layer, which is acts as a nourishmenting layer or else nutritive layer, which is called what? Tapetum. Okay, let me draw tapetum here. This is the innermost wall layer, which is called what? Tapetum. This is tapetum. Okay, and this is what? Nutritive layer. Tapetum is what, children? Tapetum is the nutritive layer. Next, after tapetum, what comes? After tapetum, there will be the sporogenous cells. Let me take one more color for your convenience. Okay, now there will be sporogenous cells. This is what actually sporogenous tissue. Okay na? Sporogenous tissue means they are the highly activated homogeneous sporogenous tissue. This one, okay, this one is sporogenous tissue. And now I am going to discuss about the tapetal layer. Okay, this tapetal layer is single layered, and this is very thick. This is single layer, and then it is very thick. And what is the function? Nourishment of the sporogenous tissue, or else one more name for sporogenous tissue, microspore mother cell. These all are nothing but these are the MMC. These are MMC. MMC means microspore mother cell. What actually microspore mother cell will be? Microspore mother cells, after the cell division, they are going to give you pollen grains. Okay na? They will be always diploid in nature. Okay na? Here these microspore mother cells or else pollen grains, I can say in future. Okay, those all pollen grains or else the microspore mother cells were nourished by whom? This tapetum. The tapetum, so called, it is called what? The nourishing membrane. Okay now, and here the tapetum will be initially diploid, but they become polyploid and multinucleated. Initially there will be only one nucleus, children. Please try to understand me clearly about this. This is whatever I am going to tell you now. Know that on that basis many questions were arised. In tapetum initially there will be only one nucleus. Okay, and later on there will be diploid condition only. Okay, 2n number only. But after some maturity of the anther, what happens? That becomes polyploid and multinucleate. That's what, see how many nucleus I drawn. I drawn two nucleus, means multinucleate condition, where you can see multinucleate condition only in tapetum. Rather than this, all the cells will be having only one nucleus only, children. Okay, every cell should have only one nucleus. You people learned this about in cell only, that is in first year. But in tapetum what happens? It will become multinucleated and then polyploidy. Due to which condition? Due to endomitosis and free nuclear division. Endomitosis means, endo means inside. Inside this cell mitosis will occur. Mitosis means only mitosis means what? Actually one cell will be giving you two cells. It is a division, cell division. Here what happens? Endomitosis, free nuclear division. Endomitosis, free nuclear division means inside this cell the mitosis is occurring. Free nuclear means only nucleus is going to be divided rather than the cell. Okay, there will be no formation after division of the nuclear. There will be no formation of cell wall. Okay, that's what here in the tapetum, and due to the endomitosis and free nuclear division, it becomes polynucleated or else polyploid and then multinucleated condition. Okay, now next point. The tapetum absorbs food from middle layer and provide nutrition to the microspore mother cell. I hope everybody is understand. The tapetum absorbs nutrition from the middle layer. Why? Because the middle layer is food storing material, as it is made up of parenchymatous cells. Okay, the tapetum absorbs food from middle layer and then it will be helpful for the nourishing of what? The microspore mother cells. That food will be provided and then nourished to whom? Microspore mother cell or else developing microspore, I can say. Okay, now the tapetum disappears in mature anthers. Some anthers will be the tapetum will be disappears. Why? Because when all the nourishment is taken by microspore mother cell, the tapetal cell will be disappeared. Okay, and here the tapetum cell or else the tapetum cells possess dense cytoplasm and generally have more than one nucleus. The tapetal cell will be having dense cytoplasm, means cytoplasm will be very much active, and then all the enzymes, every content will be more. Tapetal cells show increase in their DNA content. That's what I said, the diploid polyploidy condition. Polyploidy condition means due to the endomitosis, the condition of DNA, the content of the DNA will be doubled. Okay, before degeneration of cells of tapetum, before degeneration of tapetum, they form a special granules called proubished bodies in cytoplasm. Means if I say this is tapetum, when it is going to be disappear, this tapetum will be storing a cell granules, storing a specialized granules which is called eubished or else proubished bodies. Okay, this is very important for your NEET point of view. Proubished bodies, where in cytoplasm only. Why they are actually? They are surrounded by a sporopollen. Okay, when these pro-Ubish bodies are there, these pro-Ubish bodies, due to the pro-Ubish body only, when these microspore mother cells will be divided, no, to form a pollen grain, to that pollen grain there will be a outer layer which is called exine children. Okay, now that outer layer is made up with a very hard chemical which is called sporopollenin. That sporopollenin is formed due to the Ubish bodies. The outer covering of sporopollenin is formed due to the Ubish bodies. If you understand this point, that is very fine. If you didn't understand, that is very fine, because in the next session you are going to understand very clear. Don't worry about that. Okay, now don't take tension about that. Just keep in mind, in tapetum there will be production of pro-Ubish bodies or else Ubish bodies. Okay, that Ubish body is very important. That thing we are going to learn in next session. Okay, now what actually many of the types are there in the tapetum children, that is not there in your NCERT, but then too I am just mentioning there are two types of tapetum. One is glandular tapetum or else secretory tapetum, I can say. Another one is amoeboid tapetum. Okay, now the definition that much is not necessary for you. In next class I am going to explain you about the sporogenous tissue. Okay, now in this session I am just giving you the headlines of these 4 layers. I hope the explanation is very clear to you all, isn't it? That's what. Now let me write the points, very important point about these two, that will be helpful for your examination. Okay, now first layer is about epidermis. First layer is epidermis. Epidermis is, it is the outermost single layer, and what is the function? Protective in function. That's it. Then next second one is endothecium. Please, this sequence should be like this only. You should not mix up them. First should be epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, tapetum. Okay. Second one is endothecium. Endothecium, this is present below the epidermis. Present below the epidermis. And then second point is, it is single celled thick layer. It is what? Single celled thick layer. The outer wall of these cells remain thin. Outer wall will be what? Outer wall of this layer is thin, but inner wall and the radial walls become thick due to deposition of what, children? Yes, due to deposition or else due to thickening of a chemical which is called alpha cellulose fibers. Okay, underline this, alpha cellulose fibers. Okay, here what happens, along with the radial wall there will be callose bonds. There are presence of callose bonds, where callose bonds are present along the radial wall, and at some places this callose bond is, at some places this callose bonds and then fiber thickening and fiber thickening is absent. And what it is said? Yes, absent. And that place, this place are called, this place is called stomium. Okay, I think you people remembered. In last session we discussed about stomium. Okay, why it is there? To dehiscence of anther takes place only from this place. The dehiscence of anther takes place only from stomium. Why? Because that will be a thinner layer. Okay now. Next, the last one, endothecium becomes, actually endothecium becomes what nature? Hygroscopic in nature. What actually means? Hygroscopic means it tending to absorb what? Moisture from the air. Endothecium is hygroscopic. And then third one is about the middle layer. Third one is middle layer. And the middle layer, what it is consist of? It consists of parenchyma cells. It consists of parenchyma cells. How many layer will be? This layer is 1 to 3 celled thick, isn't it? There will be no only one layer of middle layer. Epidermis and then endothecium only single layer, but the middle layer is 1 to 3 layered. Okay, now what is the function? It stores what? Food. Food is stored by whom? Stored by parenchyma cells. Okay, parenchyma cells. Food is stored by parenchyma cells. And then last one is middle layer is what, children? I said it is ephemeral. Ephemeral means it is short lived. Okay na, it is what? Short lived. After after maturity of the anther, this middle layer is degenerated. Next is about the we finished of epidermis, endothecium and then middle layer. Next comes the tapetum. Next is about the tapetum. Tapetum, write down. It is innermost layer which acts as nutritive layer. Which acts as what? Nutritive layer. That's what it is called, mother layer also. That's what it is called, children. It is also called the mother layer. Why it is called? Because it nourishes the developing pollen grain. Okay now. Next is about next point. Second point, this single layer thick, the cells of tapetum are initially they are what? Diploid. Initially what? They will be diploid. But they become what they become? They become polyploid, means the number of DNA, the content of DNA will be doubled, and how many nucleus? Multinucleate. There will be more than one nucleus. That is called what? Multinucleate. For what reason? Due to what? Due to endomitosis. Due to what? Endomitosis. This is very important. And free nuclear division. Just now I explained about this. Okay, free nuclear division. respectively. Polyploid is due to endomitosis, multinucleate condition due to free nuclear division. Okay, now then next, tapetum absorbs food from whom? Middle layer. It absorbs food from whom? Food from middle layer. And what it will do? And it provides nutrition to whom? To the MMC. MMC means microspore mother cell. I hope you will be writing. Okay. The tapetum is also disappears in mature anthers. Some mature anthers will be not having the tapetum, and the cells of tapetum possess what? Dense cytoplasm. The cytoplasm will be very dense and generally have what? Have more than one nucleus. Just now we discussed about this. Okay, tapetal cells show increase in their DNA content. Why? Because of the polyploidy condition. Okay, they form special granules in their cytoplasm, which are called, the granule name is called proubisch bodies. Okay, after that these proubisch bodies only will become into ubisch bodies. Okay, now what actually these proubisch bodies? They are made up of sporopollenin. Okay, now when these proubisch bodies are surrounded with sporopollenin, they are called ubisch bodies. I hope everybody is clear about this. Okay, or else it is also called orbicules also. Okay, now the proubisch bodies, they are surrounded, well, let me write that also because it is important. They are surrounded by which chemical? Sporopollenin. Okay, sporopollenin. Now it is called what? Now they are called what? Ubisch bodies, or else one more name, orbicules. Now you got ubisch bodies will be having sporopollenin. Proubisch bodies will be not having sporopollenin, just they are in a granule manner. Okay, now at last the tapetal degenerate and these ubisch bodies only releases the pollen sacs. They released in the pollen sac. Why they released? They will be releasing to participate in the formation of outer covering of the pollen grain. Okay, when these ubisch bodies are released into microsporangium or else pollen sac, when they are released, because they are in a granule form, isn't it? When they are released into pollen sac, what they will do? They participate in formation of outer covering of what? Outer covering, that is exine. I am mentioning hearing only. Okay, outer covering of whom? Pollen grain. Pollen grain is nothing but male gametophyte. Okay, this pollen grain only will be having male gametes. Okay, this is only the anther wall layers, children. Okay, we discussed about epidermis, endothecium, middle layer, tapetum. I hope everybody is understood very clearly about these layers. Okay, now in the next class I am going to discuss you about only about sporogenous tissue. How actually this sporogenous tissue is formed and how it is going to be divided. After division of sporogenous tissue, what it is given, how actually the pollen grains are going to be formed. These all things we are going to learn in next class. Okay, today we are going to winding this chapter here only. Thank you.